Eu puxa. E na frente.
Two sides at a crossroad. Just over a year away from the beginning of Rugby World Cup 2013. South Africa on the slide. Australia on the ascendancy. A sold-out stadium in New South Wales, Sydney, Australia. My name is David Midgley. Alongside me for this first 20 minutes is Otto Simon. You're listening to One World Sports Radio. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We are everywhere you want to be with us. Go to find us on Twitter at One World SR. Otto Simon, an encounter that the Springboks will want to turn their fortunes around with. Australia looking to build upon the victory last week in Adelaide. Good afternoon.
Yes, still technically good morning. Yes, and good afternoon and good evening to you wherever you are in the world listening to us. Coming to you live from Gauteng. I hope you enjoy watching this game with us. And the newly renovated Allianz Stadium. Let's see if the Springboks can reverse what happened last week. Very poor performance by the Springboks. 2 poor performances in a row. They need to turn the corner, and we hope to see them do that today. Yes, my name is Otto Simon at Ozmaster on Twitter. You can tweet us, as David said, at OneWorldSR. You can also support us, patreon.com/OneWorldSR. Help us to get to the stadiums, help us to pay for the broadcast rights, and make our voluntary efforts become semi-professional, if you don't mind. And thank you to those who are supporting us at the moment.
Absolutely. The last time there was any test match rugby in this stadium was 2017, but before that, in 2015 was the last time that Australia won in Sydney, that game against Samoa. So South Africa not having won since 2013, Australia not having won in Sydney since 2015. 2 records, and one of them will almost certainly fall. Like I said, it's a sold-out stadium, which means that the encounter will be full of gold jerseys, but not without some green or two, because we know of the large South African community in Australia. How do you think they'll be feeling after last week's defeat?
Well, disappointed probably is the biggest word that comes to mind. Comes to my mind, certainly. That was how I felt about it personally, and humiliated even. The way they were not able to respond to Australia's challenge. We see that teams are lining up for the national anthems. And Australia, you've got to give credit where credit is due. They played to a plan, a very clear game plan, and they able to execute that. And the South Africans had no answer for the tactics employed by Australia last week. So those are the 2 things that I would like to see from the Springboks today. Firstly, a better performance by them, and secondly, just reacting to what's happening on the field better than what they were able to do last week.
Yeah, South Africa finding themselves right at the bottom of the Rugby Championship table, joined by, well, before this game, New Zealand. But remember that New Zealand resuming normal service in World Rugby, so to speak, as they hammered the Argentinians 53 points to 3. I mean, that's a contrast or two from last week's performance where Argentina were victors for the first time in New Zealand. Is that a return of the All Blacks, or is it just the nature of Test rugby at the moment? South Africa struggling, with their own form. 2 from their last 5 have been victories. Australia on the upward trend. But what do you think it is with sides not able to string together a consistent run of wins?
I was thinking about that all throughout this week, and the only explanation I could find was maybe the players aren't used to the East-West travel anymore. The All Blacks took a beating when they came to South African shores, and then they managed to put together a decent performance at Ellis Park with a below-par Bok team on the opposite end of the field. That's just about the only thing I can think of. With New Zealand traveling back, they had a 2-week break, so that sort of, makes it makes the argument invalid, I would say. But really, that's the only thing I can think of. Just not being used to the travel and the time zone differences and that sort of thing. But we'll see what happens today. What stood out for me in that All Blacks game that we saw this morning was 3 handling errors by the All Blacks in the entire match. They were back to their ruthless, clinical best. And once again, let's hope that the Springboks can match that performance today. I mean, if this Springbok team just plays to their potential, they should be well on top of Australia in this match.
Potential is what it's all about. South Africa with a number of changes as Nkosi Sikelele Africa rings out in Sydney. A lot of changes. Arthur, if you want to run through the Springboks, I'll bring up the rear with the Wallabies.
Most certainly, and thank you very much, David, for this stats pack that you put together for us so nicely. Absolutely wonderful to have that kind of support here on One World Sports Radio, where we all work together to bring you these broadcasts. So we'll start with the forwards. Number 1, loosehead prop Steven Kitsoff, at tighthead prop Frans Malherbe. Malcolm Marx in the middle of the front row. Jeben Etzebeth and Loot Jager, second row, number 4 and 5. Siya Kolisi, the captain, at 6. Franco Mostert on the other side of the scrum at 7. And Jasper Wiese earning his 16th cap today at number 8. Jaden Hendrikse at number 9. Damian Willemse moves to number 10 after we were told Andre Pollard was injured, but I don't buy that. I think he was dropped. I would certainly have dropped him. Makazolo Mapimpi on the left wing. Canan Moodie making his debut at the right wing. Damien Dalende, number 12. Jesse Kriel, number 13, back in the squad and now starting. And Willie Leroux comes off the bench for number 15, and he's playing his 77th cap.
Yeah, it's an enterprising opportunity here for Canan Moodie. It is the second youngest debutant since readmission, 19 years, 302 days. He's just a couple of 100 or so days behind that of Frans Steyn, who is on the bench. So it's an incredible circle of life that we're seeing from the Springboks here. Frans Steyn, he would earn his 76th cap if he comes off the bench today with Canan Moodie. Talk a little bit more about him. I mean, he plies his trade at the Stormers, but boy, oh boy, has he been something worth talking about. And now that he's been in the Springbok side, a number of injuries and suspensions meant that he gets his opportunity today. And not a lot of pressure per se on him, but certainly he'll be up for the occasion.
Correction there, Dave. He plays for the Vodacom Bulls, does Canan Moodie, and he had a very, very productive United Rugby Championship campaign where he really showed what he was worth the Bulls obviously losing to the Stormers in the final there, but he had a great season up to that point. So very happy to see him into the starting lineup of the Springboks, earning his first cap straight up as a starting right wing. Players are just about ready for the kickoff, and we'll listen to David taking us through the first 10 minutes.
Absolutely. Nick White gets this ball high up into the air. Remember, it is raining in Sydney at the moment, but it's a good catch by the Springboks to get underway. Willemse just inside his own 22. He's going to have to marshal some troops, Will Hendrikse, because now that his fly-off is at the bottom of a ruck. Will he go to a forward or will he offer up the box kick? The Boks are playing left to right, Australia right to left, and an unchanged Australian starting lineup from that of last week. High hanging kick from Hendrikse. You know, the wind will be swirling, definitely. Good catch by Marika Korobetti. He's a vital part of this Australian side. Nick White looking for some options. He's going to go to his captain, and it's a turnover ball by the Springboks, kicked away by Hendrikse. Now they have to move way back into their own 22 are the Australians. Now, can Australia get some forward momentum with Len Nikitau looking for some options left and right? The Springboks all over the Australians. My, oh my, did they start with a house on fire. Nick White dragged to the bottom of a ruck. Now they're having to do some work, are the Australians, having to dig some options out. Hunted by Sami in the ruck. Eventually, Nick White is able to crawl his way out of that pile, and he's going to set up for a box kick. High hanging kick just outside his own 10-meter line in his own half. Good catch by Veliluru inside the Springbok half, and he gets over halfway line. As you can hear, planes flying overhead. Exorbitant is the amount of Springbok tackles here. So many of them, and there's a penalty advantage for the Springboks as well. So what are they going to do? Hendrikse to the blind side, tried to chip through, did Veliluru, but they'll come back for the penalty advantage. There was a talk last week, Otto Simon, about the intensity at which the Springboks played, but they have started like a jet plane.
Absolutely correct. You are there, as Australia are caught offside of that ruck that was set up by the return of the kick by Veliluru, and Damian Willemse will take the penalty right on the halfway line. He's going to be kicking this one to the far side of the field. The ball flies over the touchline and sets up the line out just inside the Australian 22 on the far side of the field. And it will be Malcolm Marks with the first line-out throw of the match for the Springboks.
While they quickly set up, James Slipper, Falau Fainga, Alan Alatoa, Rory Arnold, Matt Phillip, Jed Holloway, Fraser McWright, and Rob Valentini are your forwards. 120 games for skipper of Australia, James Slipper. Nick White, Noah Lolesio is your halfback pairing. Korombete and Tom Wright are your left and right wings, respectively. Marks with the throw, finds De Jager. Continuing with that lock pairing are the Springboks. Swinging round here is Rob Valentini. Looks like he could be guilty of misbehaving here. The Australians not the most sinless when it came to their breakdown penalties, both in the scrum and the in the line-out. Nevertheless, here they go. The Springboks right in the middle of the park, kits off with the ball. Hendrikse again goes to the forwards. He goes to Kwagga Smith with some support from Franco Mostert. Kwagga Smith picking up 2 tries in last week's test match. That ball going to no one, and so Willemse having to do a bit of clean-up work in the middle of the field. He finds Willemse and is able to get out of the way. Kicks it across, looking for Canan Moodie, and he's thrown into touch. First touch of the ball, Otto Simon, and he nearly had 5 points under his name.
Yes, on the near side touchline, flirting with the edge there and just coming up on the wrong side there of the touchline with the left wing, Marika Koroibeti in attendance there. Canan Moodie almost through for a dream debut start. Australia will have the line out on the near side of the field, 10 or so meters from their own try line.
Centre pairing, Hunter Paisami and Len Ikitau for the Australians. Nick White now going to Rob Valentini. Goes straight into the tackle of Jasper Visser, his opposite number 8. Nick White setting up once again, and he goes into the pocket. Finds Lolesio, who thumps this out on to the near side of the park, but Moodie collects. He throws to Veliluru. He's going to hoof this high in the air, and Moodie will try and make chase. He nearly gets on the end of it, but Reece Hodge safe under the high ball. 58th test match before today's game, so 59. South Africa turning over the ball immediately. Jasper Wiese finding some space. Cross kick now in the corner. Is it going to fall safe? And it doesn't. It bounced and then went on its way out to that far side touchline. Tom Wright was out of position completely there, and Makazola Mapimpi was looking to snipe around there and maybe pick some things up. Makazola Mapimpi has the second highest try to match ratio for any Springbok, 21 tries in 30 tests. He's only behind Dani Gerber, 19 tries from 24 test matches. Taken into contact is the number 8 Rob Valentini for Australia, right inside of their pole, in front of their poles, about 8 meters away from their try line. Kicked away by Nick White, and this should fall comfortably into the hands of a fan in the stands.
Yeah, it's a good kicking play here by the Springboks so far. They're pinning Australia back into their 22. Let's hope that this time around, as opposed to last week, they can convert this field position into points. 5.5 minutes gone in the first half. And let's see what South Africa do here from the line out just outside the 22 on the far side of the field.
Scoreless as we go into the second 5 minutes, or the next 5 minutes of our commentary stint. Diago with the catch. Back to Mark, and the maul is not really going anywhere. Rob Valentini again, making sure he doesn't want to swing round and seem like he's trying to swim around the outside of the maul. South Africa slowly inching forward. There's a penalty advantage for the Springboks now over the 22-meter line. Marks breaks away and he finds Fraser McCright in that far side of the park, but not able to hang on. Hendrikse to Kitshoff with Itzebeth in support. Again, Dalende at the back of the ruck this time, looking for options. He goes himself. Hendrikse looking perhaps for his number 10, but the referee blows his whistle and they'll have to go back. Ben O'Keefe, the Kiwi, hoping to do better than his fellow Kiwi last week. That really left a lot to be desired. Collapsing the maul is the call there.
Yes, indeed. So, so far, so good by the referee. The Springboks need to keep Ben O'Keefe out of the game, and they're doing that so far. Very disciplined performance by South Africa so far. No penalties against them, no handling errors yet. I think that last ruck would have been a penalty if they didn't have the advantage, because Dalende was a bit isolated there. But it's looking a lot better from the South Africans this week, and long may that continue. Marks with the throw 6 meters out of the Wallaby try line on the far side of the Sydney pitch.
Right, into the air, finds Diago again. Good bit of work by the South African number 2. South Africa been struggling with their hookers, but it's been a fantastic performance so far at line-out time from Marks. Marks looking for Dalende. He finds him there. He's got Jesse Creel on his outside. Hendrikse looking for some options. He goes with a forward and finds Frans Malherbe. To Wiese this time. South Africa powering forward, still not yet over the gain line. Hammering away at this Australian defense. Kitshoff with support from Franco Mostert. There's an Australian misdemeanor there, and there's an advantage for the Springboks. This ball coming out not so cleanly to Damian Willemse, who tries to step away from a couple of gold jerseys. He does it once, does it twice, finds Korambete right in the middle of the park, who's trying to cover some defense there. Malherbe nearly getting over that 5 meter line. Advantage still coming for the Springboks. Where's this ball going to go? Hendrikse looking for options. Excuse me, not coming out, and the penalty is eventually blown. Then the Springboks tap and go. Hendrikse, he's held up short. He's got 1 meter surely from the try line. Willie Leroux sings it inside. Itzebeth, who's got support. Dalende, and he's under the post, and South Africa have a try. 5-0 to the Springboks inside 10 minutes.
Yes. Well done, Damian Dalende, and well done to the Springboks, backing themselves to get the try, and they do it in the 9th minute of this 4th round match, the second test match in the Rugby Championship between South Africa and Australia. Good support play, good clean out of the ruck, and Eben Etzebeth just popping that ball out to Damian Dalende in support there, and he spikes the ball behind the uprights and points to the crowd, or pumps his fist, raises his fist at the crowd, behind the Australian goalposts. Lovely stuff. And that will be 7-0 to South Africa. If you are watching along on Facebook or YouTube, we know our scorecard is a little bit behind. So 9.5 minutes gone, 5-0 to South Africa with a kick to come, and should be a mere formality for Damian Willemse. Now the referee is having a talk with James Slipper, and it looks like he's got a card in his hand, and he's going to be showing that card to Matt Phillip. So the Aussies down to 7 forwards as number 5, Matt Phillip, is sent to the sin bin. That would probably be for repeated infringements. And it was Matt Phillip that tackled Jaden Hendrickse, and he was not back 10 meters. So he was not allowed to play Jaden Hendrickse at all there. Good work there by South Africa to force the hand of the referee in that case, I would say.
Yeah, it was something that was lacking in terms of consistency with last week's referee. But Ben O'Keefe, not mincing words there in the conversation with Matt Phillip, just saying to him, it's not once, it's twice, and I'm not going to allow that. An early stamping in on the game. Referees don't like giving cards, but when players don't play within the frame of the laws, they have to be carded. As much as we didn't like the tap on Nick White last week, by Faf de Klerk. The reality is the law says if you strike somebody on the face, you're going to get it. That one's caught by
Nick White.
By Willie Leroux, and then thumped out by Willemse near side of the park.
Yes, indeed. Nick White with the kickoff straight down the middle of the field. Caught by Willemse inside his 22, and he sends it over the near side touchline about 5 meters inside the Springbok half. 15 meters inside the Springbok half as Australia get it to Nick White off the top of the line out, and into the midfield go the Australians right in the middle of the park. Nick White looking for the ball, and Australia penalised there for holding on as Siya Kolisi forces the penalty, and Nick White trying to get under the skin of the Springboks, and Siya Kolisi rushing forward there to put a damper on things. Nick White still has a bit of lip to give to the box, and as you say, his lip's still intact. His moustache was not damaged on this occasion. The referee now having a chat to the two captains, James Slipper and Siya Kolisi. Siya Kolisi with an excellent steal there for the Springboks. South Africa was 72% possession and 78% territory in the match so far, and as opposed to last week, it is showing on the scoreboard. So Jaden Hendrickse went in to fetch the ball from Nick White as the referee blew the whistle, and then Nick White threw the ball down and threw the ball backwards behind the back of the referee, literally, as he was then remonstrating with the referee for being shoved by Jaden Hendrickse, and told off by Siya Kolisi there, no uncertain terms. Damian Willemse now with the penalty kick. Just outside the 22 of South Africa, the ball flies high and handsome through the air to the near side touchline. Let's see where the referee raises the flag. 13 minutes gone. It's line out to South Africa, just about 7 to 10 meters outside the Australian 22 on the near side of the park. Malcolm Marx gets the signal from Steven Kitsoff, sets up for the throw, and he goes to Loet de Jager once again, and the ball is quickly set by South Africa. Malcolm Marx has the ball at the back, and the Springboks drive it just inside the 50-meter line. They just managed to get past the mark where the line-out was, as the maul is now gaining momentum. Up to the 22 they go, and over the 22 they go. Jaden Hendrickse gets the ball out to Damian Willemse, who gets it now on the wraparound, kicks the ball to the far side of the park where it's fielded by Reece Hodge, tries to step through some tackles and gets tackled inside the middle of the park here. Back the ball goes to, that is number 14, Tom Wright, who gets tackled 20 meters from the far side touchline, 10 meters out of Australia's goal line. Nick White digging for the ball there, shoveling it to the back of the train, set up by the forwards for Australia. He kicks the ball high with the right foot. The ball will come down just about 15 or so meters outside the 22 of Australia on the far side of the field, and South Africa will have the throw. It's a good passage of play, defensive play there by Australia, right about the same mark where the penalty was kicked out, except now we're on the far side of the park. A good maul set there by South Africa, but losing the ball, kicking the ball away there, and Reece Hodge making some meters before that ruck was set up. So Marks with the ball, 4-man line out for the Springboks, tap back to Jaden Hendrikse, who sends it out to Damian Willemse into the hands of Siya Kolisi in the middle of the park, just over the 10-meter line of Australia. High into the air goes Jaden Hendrikse with a kick. The ball will come down inside the 22, almost in the middle of the park, but South Africa penalised there for players in front of the ball advancing, and Australia will have the penalty kick just outside their 10-meter line, I think right in the middle of the field. 15 minutes gone, 7 points to South Africa, 0 for Australia. And the penalty is kicked. Yeah, we see there Mapimpi, I think, got in front of Jaden Hendrikse as that ball was kicked, and just mistiming his run there. So Australia will have the put into the lineup on the far side of the field. We'll check the position for you in a moment.
Yeah, it's between 22 and 10 on the far side of the park.
Yes, indeed. So it is Folau Fainga who puts the ball up to the line-out jumper there, and into the midfield goes number 12, Hunter Paisami, who's tackled. And there's an advantage to the Springboks as they rob Australia of the ball. The ball goes out to Damian Dalende, who puts a short chip kick over the defenders, but the referee will bring them back as South Africa lose possession in that chip kick action there. Jaden Hendrikse with possession of the ball there, puts it down. The referee signalling there that Australia entered the ruck from the side. But a very good steal there by Siya Kolisi on the ground. He had a very quiet game last week, but Siantanda Kolisi winning possession for his country, and good to see him in the thick of things as this ball is kicked to the far side of the field, just inside the 10-meter line of Australia. 17 minutes just about elapsed now. 7-0 to the Springboks. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching along with us wherever you are in the world. Please tell your friends, everybody who can't watch the game or get to the stadium. Marks with the throw into the line out. It's collected by Franco Mostert and driven back are South Africa. But Siya Kolisi breaks away to the middle of the field. Inside ball to Marks is knocked forward by Malcolm Marks, and Australia have possession back. Nick Wright with the kick. That'll be advantage over for the knock-on. The ball comes down inside the 10-meter line of South Africa. And Damian Willemse steps past the first tackler, sends the ball back into the 22 of Australia, and the ball is shepherded by Tom Wright and put down inside the in-goal area now as Kitsoff chases that kick, and it will be a goal line dropout, I think. Yes, it's a goal line dropout for Australia. Reece Hodge has the ball in hand as we see that this has presented some drop kick opportunities, so Australia will be mindful of that. Hodge now passes the ball to Nick White. Don't kick the goal line dropout into the middle of the field, because that will give the returning drop kick a very good field position. He does go into the middle of the park, gets enough distance on it. It's touched with the feet by Damian Dalende, as he just didn't manage to get underneath that ball, but I think he did knock it on eventually, trying to pick it up after kicking it forward.
Rugby football skills there. Just the first touch.
Very good option. Very good option there, because he realized that he wasn't going to be able to catch the ball, kicked it forward, but then knocked it on as he tried to pick it up. And it's a scrum to Australia in the middle of the park, just inside their half. Silly mistake there by Damian Dalende, but that was one knock-on averted, but the second one came to bite him. So time is back on now. 19 minutes just about gone now in this clash. 7-0 to South Africa. Pack weights 855 kilograms for South Africa, and just over 780 kilograms, but about 110 of those kilograms are sitting on the naughty chair next to the field. They will have to scrum without Matt Phillip, who's still in the sin bin. He's got 40 seconds left in the bin. And now Korobete is flank, and they moved one of the flanks there into, that was number 6. Jed Holloway is playing lock for Australia's Nick White. Throws the ball in. He's ready to throw in, but the referee not happy with the scrum as it goes down. Looks like it went down on the far side there. It's a bit of pushing and shoving there between the front rows. Malcolm Mark's not happy with something there.
Delaying so that they can get their flanker back, their lock forward back. Because there's about 10 seconds left on the card. They won't have him for this scrum, that's for sure. So the referee having a talk to the 2 front rows. He's going to take up position on the far side where the problems occurred there for the scrum. And coming up on 20 minutes gone. And we'll say hello to Mr. Ken Borland. Ken, will you take us through?
Good.
Cheers, Dave.
Good morning, guys.
Man. Morning. And Ken will describe what's going on.
Just Wi-Fi down at the moment, just rebooting. So, David, take it away. I'm looking at a blank TV at the moment.
Pick up at the back by the number 8, Rob Valentini, and the ball is shoveled, eventually over touch on the far side of the field as Nick White sent the ball out to Tom Wright, the right wing. It went first to Lolosiu, but that was a forward pass and then a knock-on by Tom Wright, and he eventually gets bundled over touch. So Matt Phillip is back on the park, 21 minutes gone, 7 to Australia, 7 to South Africa, 0 to Australia in the 21st minute of the match. Whenever you're ready, Ken, you can resume service for us. So it will be a scrum, I think, to South Africa on the far side of the field. Yes, indeed, just about halfway, 5 meters inside the Australian half, 5 meters from the far side touchline. And Jaden Hendrickse will have the ball in hand. He does indeed. Australia back to 15. Matt Phillip back into the lock position. Jaden Hendrickse puts the ball into the scrum. Solid scrum by both teams. And Jasper Wiese picks up at the back, comes to the near side, to the open side as Jaden Hendrickse feinted the blind side attack there. Jaden Hendrickse goes to the blind side and it's knocked into the air by Australia. Knock forward advantage for South Africa. They play the ball far back behind the advantage line, and it will be Damian Willemse who kicks this ball out on the full. But there is an advantage to South Africa for, I'm not sure exactly what. Let's see. Yeah, that was a deliberate knock on, I think, as the number 6 there, Jed Holloway, tried to intercept that ball.
So, fiery start by the Springboks, and perhaps Eben Etzebeth wrestling his opposite number out of the very first ruck set the tone for a good start by South Africa, but they need to keep that emotion and accuracy going.
Yes. So that was judged to be a knock-on, not a deliberate knockdown by Jed Holloway, who tried to burst through and intercept that ball. So Jaden Hendrickse will have it put in to the scrum more or less in exactly the same spot. Oh, no, this one is about 20 meters in from the far side touchline, but 5 meters inside the Australian half. As they set the scrum, bind and set is called. Jaden Hendrickse puts the ball in. Another very solid scrum. He goes to the blind side. Does Jaden Hendrickse, waiting for Jasper Wiese to deliver the pass. And Nick White jumping all over Jasper Wiese there, who gets the ball away. Siakulisi picks it up as Jasper Wiese lets it go. Damian Willemse with the cross kick to Canan Moodie, who beats Korobeti almost on the outside there. Inside pass goes forward off Jesse Kriel, and it'll be a knock-on just outside the 22 of Australia. Boy, that would have been a brilliant try there. Canan Moodie holding up the defense and sending the pass inside. The cross kick finding the safe hands of Moodie. A goose step almost beats Korobeti on the outside, and the inside pass to Jesse Kriel goes to ground. Australia will have a scrum. outside their 22, about 10 meters outside their 22 on the near side of the field.
It was just a tiny bit too low for Jesse Creel, but a wonderful idea by Canan Moodie, and that little acceleration off the mark. He, as you said, threw a goose step and then it burst away, and the pass inside was just inches away from being a try-scoring one.
Yes, indeed. 24 minutes gone. Nick White has the ball for Australia. 5 meters outside the 22 of Australia, 5 meters from the near side touchline. Let's see if the Springboks can bring some heat here. Scrumming has been good by both sides so far. The set is called, and Nick White puts it in, and he picks it up at the back now, goes into the hands of Lolosiu, who kicks this ball downfield, finds that would be Canan Moodie, I think, passes it to Willie Leroux, who sends this ball high up into the air. Canan Moodie and Makazole Mapimpi is there, but Australia have it through Tom Wright. Nick White has the ball 20 meters from the far side, just inside their half. The ball goes back behind the advantage line into the hands of the number 13, Len Ikitau, who makes it to the halfway mark. And Nick White to Lolosiu, behind his 10-meter line, kicks this one to the far side of the field, and it is out on the full, says Willie Leroux. Mistake there by Noah Lolosiu for Australia, and the Springboks will have a putting to the line out just inside the 10-meter line of Australia on the far side of the field.
Really a titanic struggle in the scrum so far. Both sides looking pretty solid, although spectators might begin to get a little bit tired of seeing James Slipper's bum facing them. He does tend to walk around on the loose head there, such that his posterior is facing the touchline.
Now, let's hope the referee can sort that out, as there is time off now, 25 and a half minutes gone, 7-2 South Africa, 0-2 Australia. And some attention there to the hooker, Falau Fainga, for Australia, playing his 31st test today. Malcolm Marx has the towel around the ball. There is some rain around Sydney. I'm not sure if it is actually raining there at the moment, but certainly tricky conditions.
Yeah, greasy ball, passing showers. Apparently there was a very heavy shower before kickoff as the two teams were out on the field warming up. So that would not have helped conditions.
So let's see here. As time is still off. Australia in the huddle there. They've tried their negative tactics, but it hasn't worked for them this last week. They're getting blown up at the rucks. Another interesting stat here that Coach Dave gave us in our stats pack, Wayne Vermeulen is starting off the bench the first time in his career. And he is playing his 64th test match today.
Just shows you what an integral part of the Springbok success he's been over the years, making his way back from knee surgery. Not quite at his best yet, but it's been good to see Jasper Wiese playing a strong role so far, and hopefully Vermeulen can add a lot of impact in the second half.
Yeah, that'll be great to see. What a replacement to have. Jasper Wiese taking up the place very well, as Malcolm Marx is ready with the throw. About 5-6 meters inside the Australian 10-meter line. Loot de Jager down to Jaden Hendrikse, sends it into Damian Willemse, who finds Siakulisi in the middle of the field. Over the 10-meter line they go. Jaden Hendrikse at the back of the ruck here, shaping for the kick. Feints the kick and bursts around the ruck. He's got no support there. Did Australia manage to steal that ball? No. The support arrived just in time. Damian Willemse into the hands now of Willie Leroux, tries the cross kick, but it's charged down. Jasper Wiese cleans it up, and he bursts through the first and the second tackle over the 10-meter line, 50 meters from the far side of the field. Jaden Hendrikse into Loot de Jager with Eben Etzebeth on his shoulder. Jaden Hendrikse back to Damian Willemse, who kicks the ball to the near side of the field. It's going to come down just inside the 10-meter line. Canan Moodie knocks it on as he tries to fetch that, and it goes over the try line. Australia will have the choice whether they want to scrum or line out. Good position by Moodie as he went up for the ball, but the ball just slipping forward out of his hands as he turned around to attack. started running before he had the ball there. 7-0 to South Africa. 26 and a half minutes gone, and another injury delay will stop play now.
Wow,
that was Hunter Paisami meeting. Yeah, Hunter Paisami meeting the head and shoulder of Siya Kolisi and coming off second best there. He's going to go off for an HIA. And he's lucky that I've seen people getting carded for that with a contact to the head, but the first contact was to the shoulder, and his head just bounced off the shoulder and into the cheek of Siya Kolisi, so that should be okay. Yeah,
and Kolisi was ducking a bit.
Confirming. David Mitchell confirming
Andrew
that
Kellaway
was off for HIA.
Andrew Kellaway has come onto the field.
Yes, indeed. He's the only back replacement for Australia. Jake Gordon is the number 9 replacement. So Andrew Kellaway, the only backline player on the bench for Australia. He's now on the field as Folau Fainga throws the ball into the line-out. Referee is not happy with that. I think that was a skew throw by the looks of it. Let's see what the referee says there. Or no, he wants them to reset the line-out. Something was wrong there, according to the referee. On the near side of the field, inside the Australian 10-meter line, they go off the back. Malcolm Marx cleans it up for the Springboks, and they have possession in the middle of the field, but there's a penalty to Australia. And the referee, let's see what the signal is here. The Springboks not sure what they did wrong there, but they are penalized, and Australia will be relieved after messing up that line-out. And the ball going over Malcolm Marx. Let's see what happens here. He places the ball back. It might be entering the ruck from the side there by the South African player, or going off the feet. I'm not sure, but the line-out is set for Australia on the near side of the field.
Damien Willemse in on the side of the ruck there, and good to see Siya Kolisi quickly dragging him away when he started protesting to referee Ben O'Keefe, who the Springboks really want to keep on their side. He's probably one of the better referees going around the game at the moment.
Few phases here for Australia, and they're on the Springbok 10-meter line as they take the ball forward. They're tackled behind gain line. Nick White with the ball to the middle of the field, and Matt Phillip makes it to the 10-meter line as he's tackled by Franco Mostert. The ball is out to Lolosiu on the 10-meter line. It gets tackled, and it looks like Nick White has the ball, comes to the near side of the field as McWright has the ball now on the 10-meter line. Ball inside to Rob Valentini, who makes it over the 10-meter line. And Slipper, it looks like there, carries the ball into the South African 10-meter line. Nick White to Valentini, just on the advantage line, pops the ball up to, looks like Rebete there. And there is a penalty to Australia as the Springboks go into the ruck. Malcolm Marx tries to steal the ball, but he gets his hands on the ground before making contact with the ball, and is penalized for that, going off his feet at the ruck. But a good passage of play here by Australia. Nice pop-up off the floor there by Rob Valentini into the hands of what looked like Marika Korobeti there. And then Malcolm Marx just not making enough contact with the ball to the referee's liking. 29 minutes gone now. 7 to South Africa, 0 to the Wallabies, and they will have the put into the line-out on the near side of the field, just inside the Springboks 22.
First time the Springboks are defending in their red zone.
Fainga with a throw, and the ball is quickly out to Nick White, now into the hands of Rob Valentini in the middle of the park. Nick White goes to the middle of the field now, taking it up 10 meters away from the Springbok try line. Nick White goes to the captain, James Slipper, who's tackled behind the advantage line, almost held up there by the Springboks. The ball is out to Nick White to the far side of the field, and they are playing behind the advantage line still, but inside the 22 of South Africa. Nick White has to clean this one up quickly. Rob Valentini goes forward in the middle of the park and loses the ball in contact. Damien Willemse tries to hack the ball ahead, but it bounces off an Australian, and there's a penalty to Australia for a high tackle as the Springboks managed to spoil that move. 10 minutes to go in the first half. Take it away, Ken.
Well, at the moment, there's a bit of pushing and shoving to commentate on, not much else going on. And it seemed to have started with Damien Willemse being held on the ground. And then Tom Wright was trying to get away with the ball, and it was just all a lot of handbags. Bit of a scuffle there, but Australia will have a penalty, it looks like, on the 22-metre line and pretty much in the middle of the field. And there just seems to be a bit of confusion as to what they want to do, but referee Ben O'Keefe is having a stern word to both captains Sia Khaleesi and Ben Slipper, probably again about afters. We did see him have strong words with Nick White. Well, not with Nick White, but with the two captains after Nick White took the ball away when it was a Springbok penalty, which resulted in quite a furious reaction from Sia Khaleesi. Marika Koriabeti just seems to be struggling with his calf after that earlier phase of play when he got the nice pop-up from Rob Valentini. He's just hobbling around a bit. Perhaps it's a bit of a bone bruise. He's staying on for the moment. So Noah Lolesio will have his first kick at goals from just inside the Springbok 22 and straight in front.
And the ball falls over. He has to reset it. McWright comes forward, the number 7 for Australia, to hold that ball in place. Not sure how much time Lolesio has left, but McWright will assist him there to keep the ball upright. 7-0 to South Africa. Easy kick here for Lolesio.
Yeah, he's slotted it just inside the right upright. So Australia on the board in the 32nd minute, but they trail by 3 points to 7. But once again, the Wallabies showing how good they are at converting 22-metre entrances into points. They've been in the South African 22 once, and they've got 3 points to show for it. As Damien Willemse kicks straight down the middle of the field, and it's taken by Nick White, who will kick deep to the left-hand touchline, and will find a pretty good touch on or about the halfway line.
Good
just inside the South African half.
Excellent kick. So yeah, Australia fighting their way back. Australia are fighting their way back. They were a little bit dominated by South Africa in the first half so far.
Yeah, especially in terms of territory in those opening 10 minutes or so. They battled to get out of their 22, but they've done so very effectively from the restart. Malcolm Marx to feed the line out. It goes to the back. Franco Mostert takes, and the ball is set. Well defended initially by the Wallabies, with Malcolm Marx just holding the ball at the back, and now the Springboks are getting a bit of a shove on, heading towards the halfway line. Jaden Hendricks with his hands on the ball. It's almost slipped out of his grasp as the maul goes to ground, but Canan Moodie is there at the back to clean up, but it squirts out the back out of his hands. But referee Ben O'Keefe has decided that the Wallabies did something illegal at the maul there and has penalised them.
Yo, that was a lucky escape for Jaden Hendricks there. Just lost control of the ball, had to dive on it into the maul, which then went to ground, and Australia penalised there for a player playing the ball on the ground. So as the maul went down, that was, I think it was number 3, Alan Alatoa, that went rolling over the ball, spoiling the position, and the penalty kick is not out.
Yeah, spoiling our mood. Damien Willemse tried the banana kick, and it didn't find touch. Australia have cleared down the left touchline, and Willie LaRue jinking away from a couple of would-be tacklers, then clears back into the Australia half, but it will, of course, be a Wallabies throw-in. So a penalty wasted by the Springboks, and I think, in fact, Willemse might have carried this back into the 22, and then... no, they're saying it was into touch. So...
Yeah, into touch on the full...
Damien Willemse tried, Damien Willemse tried a quick throw-in, but the referee's not going to allow him to do it because the ball went to ground. So South Africa will have a throw-in just outside the 22-metre line. It's untidy ball, tapped back, and Australia regained possession through Nick White just outside the 22-metre line. Alan Alatoa dives on the ball as again it squirts out from the back of the ruck. Obviously a very slippery ball. Springboks have turned over possession. Hendrickse to Jasper Visser, who charges over the 22-meter line. The ball goes to ground with a Wallaby hand. Sia Khaleesi kicks it back into Australia's half. And bouncing ball, difficult for Noah Lolesio, but he gets it under control, and he'll do a little dink kick to the right-hand touchline. Reece Hodge inside to Tom Wright, who does kick as well, but straight into Makazole Mapimpi. And referee Ben O'Keefe has ruled there was obstruction by the Wallabies, so South Africa get a penalty.
No, it's Andrew Kellaway is still on the right wing there. Tom Wright, I think, has moved to centre in place of Hunter Paisami, who is still off with an HIA. Probably failed his HIA. Oh, that was a blatant shove out of the way there by, who was that? Reece Hodge. Just shoved Marcus Olomapimpi with his shoulder. Blatant.
He's a big guy. All 1.9 meters, 94 kilograms of Reece Hodge, but referee Ben O'Keefe having another word to James Slipper. All these little irritations that the Wallabies use so effectively to get under the skin of the Springboks look like they're being picked up by the referee in this game. Malcolm Marx will feed the line out just outside Australia's 22. Taken by Loot de Jager. The maul is set. Sia Khaleesi breaks again. He's well tackled by Fraser McWright. Makazole Mapimpi at the base. Clears to Mostert. Head down on the charge. Over the advantage line. Hendrickse now goes right. Kicks off. Met by sturdy defence by Matt Phillip. But Springboks recycle. Hendrickse to Willemse. A little show the ball to Dink, and he sets Loot de Jager free on his shoulder. De Jager bursts into the 22. Hendrickse from the ruck. South Africa recycling. They're 8 meters from the try line, and a penalty they've conceded at the breakdown. I fancy probably going off their feet at the attacking breakdown. And in on the side, referee Ben O'Keefe seems to be indicating.
Yeah, 3 minutes to go in the first half. 7 points to South Africa, 3 to Australia. Very nicely done there by Damian Willemse, feeding Loot de Jager, and a desperate tackle by, I think that was Reece Hodge. I'm not sure, but then Damian Darlende went to ground, and one of the South African players in from the side there into that ruck. And Australia will have a relieving penalty.
Yeah, great pity. The Springboks need to show a bit more discipline on their own ball at the breakdown. A couple of times now they've been penalised in possession, as Falafel Ingai will have a throw in on Australia's 10-meter line. Goes to the middle, well taken by Matt Phillip. And Australia can't get them all going, straight to ground. But Nick White will dig the ball out with his boot. Ready to kick. The up and under comes. And it's coming down just outside South Africa's 22. Taken by Canan Moodie, who goes on a run. Is well tackled by Hunter Paisami. Australia trying to disrupt the ball at the ruck, but Hendrickse goes to Malcolm Marx, head down. He makes ground. Hendrickse again. Changes feet, digging it out with his boot. Fancy a box kick here. Yeah, there we go. Up it goes. It's going to come down around about Australia's 10-meter line, taken by Canan Moodie, who's beaten Conor Miller to the ball. He's racing away. He's inside the 22. He's over. Wonderful try on debut for Canan Moodie, the 19-year-old.
Yes, what a try. Canan Moodie, kick and chase by the South Africans. And Canan Moodie, on his debut for the Springboks, does what he did so well for the Bulls. 5 points to South Africa's total. 12-3 South Africa lead now with 50 seconds to go in this first half. Jaden Hendrickse with a beautiful box kick. It comes down 15 meters, 12 or so meters from the near side touchline. Clean take by Canan Moodie just over Australia's 10-meter line. And those long legs of his, what a smooth runner he is, what an athlete. And he dives over the try line, 20 meters in from the near side touchline. Koroibete didn't even jump up into the air to try and contest that ball. But Canan Moodie, smooth as silk. Smooth as silk. What a beautiful try.
I can only imagine Koroibete totally misjudged not only the kick, but also the pace of Moodie. Because as you say, Otto, he did not even get off the ground. And Moodie was up so quickly, snaffled it in front of his nose. And I think we can expect to see a few more kicks on Marika Koriabeti after that blunder there. But wonderful to see a 19-year-old who, it's hard to believe, but, he wasn't even in the Bulls squad, in the United Rugby Championship squad at the start of last season. So in the space of one season, he's gone from being a fringe player, if you like, at the Bulls to a Springbok scoring a try on debut. Wonderful stuff. As Damien Willemse will have a tricky conversion, but it will also be the last act of the first half as the hooter has gone. Let's see if he can make it 14-3. Oh no, he skewed it terribly. Way right of the post. So that will be the halftime score then. The Springboks lead by 12 points to 3. Tries by Damien D. Allende and Canan Moodie, and one conversion by Damien Willemse, with the Wallabies replying with just a single penalty from Noah Lolicio.
Wow, what a game so far we've seen, and a much better performance by the Springboks. Thank goodness for that. And we are going to take a break, as the players do on the halfway mark here in this fourth round clash between South Africa and the Wallabies from Sydney. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to us. We'll be back in about 15-20 minutes for the second half. And in the meantime, we're going to be listening to the Full Quota podcast. I'm going to scoot it along just a little bit because we've been playing this one a few times. So apologies if you are a regular listener and you've heard this all before. But this is one of my favorite podcasts, the Date Night Drip episode, the 2022-23 kit review by our soccer experts. Thank you so much, Ken. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back for the second half shortly.
Date night trip. It seems like Arsenal's having a great run with their away kits the past few seasons. I'm definitely going to try to get this one. I'll definitely use my cheap seats discount code to get it from Classic Shirts. This one is a 9 out of 10.
A 9, not even a 10.
That's you save 10s for the club we're going to talk about last.
Yeah, fact. But Yusuf, what do you make of the Arsenal kits this season?
Okay, so I held the home one yesterday, and when I looked at it in person, first when I saw the promo pictures, I was like, oh, it's so boring and so plain. But I'm going to go with the 8 for the home kit. I really, really, really liked it. In player version, that kit really feels good. It looks good. I love how it does. I don't know if you guys seen at the bottom of their jerseys on their player version. If you put the picture up again on the away one, you can see that cup of theirs at the bottom. It's like rounded, and I really love that.
Well, I got these photos from your website, so
yeah. so that's the player version. The Arsenal one you have there is the fan version. So the player version, the material in that is obviously upgraded and gets more extra features on it. The away one, wow, it's beautiful. But I'm gonna go with Salah. It's not a 10, it's a 9.
That's fine. Mine's in the post with the cheap seats code. Cheap seats 99. That's all I'm waiting for. To start the season off right, because there's going to be a lot of tears, but at least I look good. And so Wahid and Yusuf, welcome to the Fashion Club era. We've been waiting for you, and so we'd like to welcome you with these beautiful, beautiful kits. Just know that when United lose, at least you'll be looking good. Wahid, what's your rating of your set of kits?
So I must be honest, when I first saw the home kit, I didn't love it, but since I've seen it on the players and then playing in it, it has grown on me quite a bit, and I think I'll go at 7.5 on that home kit. it's very, very nice. But I'm not entirely certain about date night with that kit. So I think 7.5 there. I absolutely love that away kit. The away kit looks absolutely unbelievable, and I'm gonna go 9.5 on that away kit. I love it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think
Luckily you married already.
Yeah, we think. Yeah, yeah, you are well done, and I'm sure your wife will like you wearing a white shirt on a date.
I'm not allowed to wear kits on dates. I've been told I have too many, and that those are for the house, and when we're not going out on dates.
What do you wear then? You have like 2 other T-shirts that you own probably.
I've been told I have too many of these things, and I need to wear other things when we go out properly.
So Yusuf, you're wearing the white kit. What do you think of it? How does it feel? Is it a 9 or a 9.5?
It's a 9.5. Let's start with it. Yeah, 10s are reserved, as we were told. So let's put the 10 away. No, so I don't know if you can see. There's like a little print on it, right through the shirt, and then it has that thin stripe on it. I really, really love this shirt. Yeah, I took the first one I got. The design on the collar looks nice. I know there's references to LA Galaxy had a white kit with blue design, with blue and gold like this or whatever. But it's nowhere near the same thing. And then the stripes reference to the 99 away shirt. I really, really like that as well. It just feels great.
The badge isn't too big. Isn't the badge too big?
That's what I was worried about. The badge.
I didn't want the black edge of the badge. That's why I put it below the Arsenal.
I think it was the 99 one again.
That you're selling to. Yes, we can see that. Yeah. But
so it was in reference to that badge, and then you can see the stripe on there, and then the badge had the black around it. So, yeah, I think it's poised.
Hey, Arsenal fans, do you remember that kit?
Whoa.
Villa Park, semi-final replay, Ryan Giggs cutting you to ribbons.
Okay.
And then the home one. The home one just reminds me of the 99 one as well. With the collar in that, and I absolutely love it. So 8 for me for the home one, and 9.5 for the away one.
So Tala, Adidas is effectively telling Manchester United fans that they must remember the treble year, because they're not going to get much.
Look, I mean, it's great that they're wearing the home kit in commemoration for Ole. They manage. Oh, sorry, that's over. But no, I think it's 2 really good kits. I think I'm same as Wahid. The home kits, I didn't like it at first, but it grew on me a lot when I saw it on the players. Yeah, like it's sort of got that. It's a cross of 2 worlds of like the vintage and the new, and so it's doing that really well. So I think that's probably a 7, and let's give it a 7.5 out of 10. Because of the badge, I think the away kit falls just below Arsenal, and the problem with white or doing the white thing is that obviously Liverpool did it so well last year. So unfortunately, United fans have to be compared to Liverpool. So yeah, I'll give it an 8.5. I think it's a really good effort, and yeah, welcome to the Fashion Club era. It's really nice to have other clubs in it too.
Okay, guys, now we're going to just do a quick fire. I'm going to put up some notables, and we'll go into some of the European clubs as well. Just quick thoughts on what you're thinking about these teams. So I just went around the Premier League, looked at some kits, and I came out with the ones that I liked. I like that Crystal Palace one. I think it's great. But then I don't know what's going on with Everton, and we can then see where Newcastle's getting their money from. Wahid, which kit do you think is the best out of these 3?
Oh, none. I don't like any of them. I think they're all rubbish.
Hey, look, Everton's back for some tough times, yeah. Tala, out of these 3, who do you think is going to have the better season?
If we judging it on the lack of quality in shirts, then Everton might be in the top 6 again this season. But yeah, it looks like I think this is gonna be the shirt they wear when they're officially relegated this season. You'll see that when like Michael Keane and the boys are holding their heads in their hands and they're all sad and crying, all that sort of stuff. No, it's not a good kit. I really like the Crystal Palace one. I like sort of the coloring in vibe of it. It is quite like it's a good concept. They nailed it. The blue and red you'll never go away from that. And I mean
they also have a black third kit, which I didn't want to bring out here because I think it probably could rival to be one of the best. So need to go
I think Crystal Palace is getting into a bit of a phase now where they're trying to look cool. They're trying to distance themselves from the Roy Hodgson era. Uncle Patrick is there. The types of players that they're buying, I mean, there's clearly a theme. So I think they're trying to be in their drip era, which is really nice. So I think the Crystal Palace one is the best out of that lot. Look, Saudi Newcastle, hey man,
they have to pay the piper somehow.
Actually, you know what? High key, it could be a great Proteas kit. Great Proteas test kit. That's what we should do there.
Actually, maybe the Saudis could sponsor
Springbok away kit.
Springbok away.
Okay, Dean. Looking at the other set of kits, Southampton's away kit looks like another aquamarine. I don't know what West Ham are doing with those sleeves, but Bournemouth are coming back with a very, very interesting.
Thank you to Otto Simon. Thank you to Paul Mutlani and his team at Date Night Drip, reviewing the football jerseys for the 22-23 season. My name is David Midgley. Alongside me for the next 20 minutes is the indomitable Ken Borland. Ken, what have your thoughts been around this first half performance by the South Africans? House on fire type stuff.
Yeah, and sometimes a bit too frantic at times. So house on fire is probably not a bad analogy. There were still a few times on attack where really we should have done better with ball in hand. There were a couple of crazy kicks. I think of Dialende on the Australian 22 early on with an overlap, kicking the ball away. Willie Leroux, I think it was a 4-on-2 overlap, and he had a little chip kick, half charge down. So for the dominance the Springboks have enjoyed, they arguably should be more than 12-3 up. Australia just getting into their 22 once in the whole first half and getting 3 points away from that.
Yeah, that half, Ken, ended with a blaze of glory for Canan Moodie, the second youngest Springbok since readmission. He scored his debut try.
Yeah, I imagine the youngest try scorer then ever for the Springboks. I don't think Frans Steyn scored on debut. But, he was really busy in that first half and had a couple of nice touches which just didn't quite work out. There were knock-ons inside him. There was one where he scrambled to touch, trying to get the ball back, but just knocked it on. And you just had the feeling that if something could stick for him, then he could do something special. And sure enough, with that an excellent up and under from Jaden Hendricks, who also had a very good half, and Moodie just absolutely brilliantly plucking the ball out from under Marika Koriabeti's nose.
Wonderful sight as well when we saw the youngest Springboks into admission, Frans Steyn, joining him in celebrating that first try, Ken. And the energy around the Springbok camp is a lot better than it has been in perhaps a week gone past. You can just see the way that the guys were celebrating. It's almost a mirror image of the Australians last weekend when they were celebrating all the small victories in that game at Adelaide. But the South Africans swarmed him, and that is a memory that he will struggle to forget.
Yeah, the Springboks came out angry. I think you could sense it from the first ruck when Urban Etzebeth laid down the law and wrestled his opposite number out of the ruck. And anger is not a bad emotion, but it probably can't sustain you for the full 80 minutes. So they do need to really concentrate on being clinical and ruthless in the second half. The Wallabies are certainly not out of the contest. And it was especially frustrating that a couple of times there was inaccuracy on the clean on South Africa's own ball. On attack in the 22, guys going off their feet or coming in on the side and giving away a penalty when the Springboks were actually hard on attack.
Do you think that the missed conversion at the end of that first half, seemingly what looked like a relatively challenging kick, he shanked it quite wide, did Damian Willemse? Do you think it would be something that the South Africans will rue, or do you think it was just kind of an inevitability with the conditions the way they are?
Yeah, conditions are very tough. There were heavy showers just before kickoff, and we've seen a number of balls squirt out of rucks and drop out of hands. And let's hope 2 points won't make too much of a difference, because they shouldn't, given the Springboks' dominance.
So 12-3 as we head into the second half. If you want to share your thoughts with us, go to our Facebook and YouTube channels, and you can share your thoughts with us, as well as tweet at OneWorldSR. If you want to support us, patreon.com/OneWorldSR. Willemse getting the game underway. Springboks now playing right to left with the Wallabies left to right. Visa with the return and the catch is simple. He gets over halfway line. He's got some support from Hendrikse going to the blind side, who goes to Kitsoff, then Willemse. Willemse with a grubber kick through and trying to get the better of Reece Hodge, who is able to settle things right at the back there. He sends it in field, and that one is thumped down the middle of the park. Willie Leroux now with some support from Willemse, who just kicks that up and not really getting any distance on it, as it was cleared away down that left-hand touchline. Willie Leroux now cleaning it up in his own half, and there's a bit of ping-pong here as both of the sides return kicks to one another. Tom Wright, inside ball to Lolesio. It's rather Tom Wright that is the one in possession, rather. Australia looking for a way through with Matt Phillip. Brought down in contact by Kitsoff. Nick White to the near side of the park, looking for Reece Hodge. Not able to immediately get clean ball out the back of that one is Nick White, so finds number 13, Len Ikitau, who thumps this through the middle of the park to find Willemse. Willemse returns it down the far right-hand touchline, and Lolesio does the clean-up. He throws it inside. And now immediately some pressure on the Wallabies. Is able to get away from it, and a bit of a kicking contest here, Ken, as both sides go back and forth, and Leroux taking it into contact on the 10-meter line of the Australians. Hendrikse looking for an option. He thinks about Malherbe, but goes to Visa. Malherbe in support there. Hendrikse now to Willemse. The magic of Willemse. Can he produce something? Handoff there to Kolisi on the outside. He's cut inside to try and get the ball back. He gets to Kitsoff. Kitsoff is brought down between 22 and the try line. South Africa trying to keep it in with Kolisi. He does. Willemse switching ends to Mapimpi. Brought down just outside the 22. They keep going to the far side of the park. Marks over the 22 line. Hendrikse again holds it for that second longer to Visa, to Adalende, to Willemse, to Willie Leroux. Franco Mostert in the corner. Can he score? He does. Fraser McWright tries to stop him, and the Springboks have a try on either side of halfway. It's the bonus point.
What a brilliant try by the Springboks. That is just textbook rugby. The patience to see that kicking battle to the end. Australia had so little territory in the first half that they're desperate to get territory. They're going to kick a lot, I think, in this half. But South Africa just held their nerve, won that kicking battle, and then brilliant recycling of the ball. First Sia Khaleesi and Stephen Kitsoff down the left touchline, and then all the way back out to the right. Some wonderful hands, and that was just a superb team try by South Africa. Well finished by Franco Mostert.
And it's something that all those commentators have been using recently, that phrase, Ken, coast to coast, because it started on that near side touchline and ended up with Franco Mostert, who came into the side to replace Peter Steph du Toit, and he won't be too upset with his involvement in today's game. He's had a great one, as has his fellow flanker, Siya Kolisi. And that's his just his second try in 56 games for him, and his first in Rugby Championship as he gets a start today.
Well, you say coast to coast, but South Africa were also a couple of times inside their own 22. Willie LaRue running back to field kicks. So that really is an exceptional try by South Africa. And just what they wanted early in the second half as well, to ram home that first half dominance.
17 points to 3 with 44 minutes gone in this second encounter of the Rugby Championship between South Africa and Australia. Last weekend, South Africa substandard, and this weekend, Ken, like the All Blacks, seemingly turning things around. I don't want to shoot ahead of myself, but certainly a much improved performance. Willemse lines it up, and he's going to shank it wide of the right hand upright, despite some assistance there on the ground from Canan Moodie. Top-notch performance by the Springboks so far, but are they able to continue that pressure? They have a bonus point, and Australia seemingly slowing the game down a little bit here. Looks like there might be a couple of changes. We'll let you know as the 45-minute mark clicks over, and Nick White will get this second patch of the game underway once again to the Springboks. He goes straight down the middle. Not very far, just on the 22-meter line. Comfortable catch for Willie LaRue. He's got some support on the ground from Mostert and Kolisi and Kitshoff. Hendrikse to the far side. It's rather Kitshoff now that collects the ball, and it was a penalty advantage immediately, Ken. Ben O'Keefe's not messing around. He's making sure that he's on top of those things. Australia erring early in the second half.
Yeah, and a very soft penalty, just offsides. Coming up too quickly to defend the second ruck, and Ben O'Keefe has been very sharp to pick up any indiscretions in this game, both sides, and Australia, I fancy, have given away a few more penalties, just as they did in last weekend's game, but South Africa did not manage to punish them.
And we see the replacement, Jake Gordon, making his way on the park, and a man who plays his rugby here in New South Wales. Diaga with the catch off the mark's throw. South Africa moving forward with the maul. Looking for options. The call of use it once comes from referee Ben O'Keefe. Hendrikse looking for Delenda, who immediately gives it to Kriel, rather Visa, who gets caught up in the tackle. Etzebeth looking for a way through a golden wall, not able to find a way through. Does then get some meterage though. Mostert ends up where his partner ended up. Drop goal attempt. Oh no, he set up there but thumped it right high into the end, hoping Australia would fumble there. But the mark is called, and there'll be a free kick as Jesse Kriel tries to upset Tom Wright. This one is a discontinued type momentum to play there, as just goes ugly into the play, and South Africa return the kick and will go over the goal line, and Tom Wright will pick it up and play. Korombete with the ball went inside. I thought they were going to go for a goal line dropout. They don't, and immediately Springboks are over the ball there, not able to clean out. Frans Moharba trying to turn the tide here at the ruck. Nick White still on the park, so an impressive performance last week and not able to be replicated this week. Box kick. And he's going to thump that one into touch, and South Africa will have a throw knocking on the proverbial door of the Australians. Nick White last week, Ken, with an Oscar-worthy performance. This week, something that he won't be happy with.
Well, Australia have got a problem that he's still on the field because Jake Gordon is a scrum half, of course. So
yes,
they went for a 6-2 bench. So some other backline player has gone down. Andrew Kellaway came on in the first half for Hunter Paisami, who was concussed.
throw by Marks. He finds De Jager. Hendrikse, De Allende to Creel in midfield. Some support. He's held up. Fraser McWright all on top of him, but South Africa looking like they may retain the ball. Hendrikse again finds his captain Kolisi. Gets some momentum there with the assistance of Kitshoff. Hendrikse immediately the quick throw there to De Jager. Dispossessed. South Africa moving forward. Kitshoff again. Ball inside. Willemse quickly with the offload there to Kolisi. Near side of the park. Billy Leroux wide, and it's intercepted by Nick White. So it looks like White may have gone out to the right-hand touchline, and Tom Wright may be coming in to the middle of the park. It's going to be an interesting way to see how they go about it. Australia trying to get out of trouble here, Ken. Excuse me, and not able to get some forward momentum there. White now able to dig that one out of the back of the ruck. Is he going to go for the box kick? He seemingly is setting up to do it. 49 minutes. He doesn't. He goes to Lolesio, who thumps it with his left boot out into touch. And South Africa at 49.5 minutes have been putting non-stop pressure, but maybe a bridge too far there, Ken, trying to look for Mapimpi out wide.
Well, it was another poor option really by Willie Leroux. That ball should have really just gone through the hands, which would have been a lot more effective than throwing a very long drooping pass, which was easily intercepted by the Wallabies.
Turnover, Fraser McWright at the back. Australia looking for some forward momentum. It may have been forward pass, but no. Referee Ben O'Keefe happy with that one. Nick White thumps it away. Hendrikse doing some clean-up work outside his own 22. Pops it away, and it'll be Australian blow there. As Ben O'Keefe says, there was a knock on there, fellas. Ken, please take us through to the hour mark.
So, Springboks leading 17-3. And we've had the first 10 minutes of the second half. South Africa extending their 12-3 halftime lead with an absolutely brilliant team try, rounded off by Franco Mostert. So, bonus point in the bag so far for South Africa, and with a very tightly contested Rugby Championship this year, bonus points are likely to be very important. As we just see injury break for the Australians. Alan Lalatoa is getting some attention to his leg, which is pretty much covered in strapping from thigh to ankle already. So he's a bit of a walking wounded. In fact, I think it was Folau Fainga, the hooker. And Lalatoa is off the field, in fact, on the bench, having an ice pack applied to his ankle. So that means we'll see the considerable figure of Taniela Tupou coming onto the field. No, Lalatoa is still there.
Yes.
So it's going to be a scrum.
Valentini?
No, I think... No, it looked like a tight five guy. Looked like a prop to me, short and squat. Although centres these days, you never know. All 6'10" of them. Nick White has fed the scrum just inside the Springbok 10-metre line, and Australia's backline have it. Pass Ikitau charging the ball up. White goes wide again to Ruiz Hodge, who's bouncing off a couple of players. Untidy ball for the Wallabies. White goes wide, looping pass to Koyobeti, puts it to boot. Inside the Springbok 22, Jaden Hendrikse runs back to recover and hacks the ball out. But the Wallabies are playing under a penalty advantage for offsides.
Yeah, excuse me, a little bit of ill discipline there by the Springboks. It's been something that the Australians have been guilty of more so in the first half, but South Africa just encroaching a little bit too much there for Ben O'Keefe's liking.
Yeah, so Australia have had precious little time with ball in hand inside the Springboks 22, and there the stat comes up. They've had one visit to the 22 in the whole match, and in the 52nd minute. They did come away with 3 points, but given that they're 14 points behind now, they have kicked this penalty to touch, and will look to, no doubt, set up some sort of drive initially, but they do have a dangerous back line. It's just been a bit disrupted by a couple of injuries in this match. Faingai will feed the line out. He goes deep to Jed Holloway. The maul is set, but quickly goes to ground, and referee O'Keefe is showing a penalty advantage. Ikita out the back to Hodge, and Tom Wright tries some fancy footwork. Here's Kellaway cutting back inside. Wallabies go to the left again. McWright. They set another ruck. Springbok rush defence up very quickly to basically swamp James Slipper, and Jasper Wiese comes away with the ball, but referee O'Keefe has his hand in the air for a penalty. Not sure if that's still the advantage or a fresh infringement at that ruck.
Yeah, it was an intentional breakdown there of the maul by Wiese. He just straight up grabbed Ikita at the back and threw him to the ground. I mean, there's no hiding that in front of the referee. It was poor from him, and again, he was part of the penalised team. Yeah, his hands on the...
Yeah, not much. Not much has escaped referee Ben O'Keefe today. So danger zone for the Springboks inside their own 22. The last thing they want to do is get a yellow card and give Australia a foothold back into this game. The penalty has been kicked to touch again, so we'll have another line out for the Wallabies. Funga on the 5-metre line, throws to Holloway again at the back. This time the maul stays up by Australia. Are they going to try and rumble it over? It has skewed out sideways, and it's a breakaway, but the Springboks have repelled that as well. Ball goes back. Nick White clears to Ikita, who has a tricky bouncing ball to deal with. He does well, and he gets over the advantage line. What an exciting young talent that outside centre is, as Nick White breaks and throws a pass inside, which goes to ground, but no indication of a knock-on by the referee. Wallabies still in possession, now on the 22-metre line. Koryabeti shapes to go left and now cuts back on the right. He's broken through one tackle, beating Kitsoff. Marks is holding him up, though, now with the help of Lutiaga. To ground he goes. Ball back for the Wallabies. White to McWright. White again will clear Australia inside the 22, and they have another penalty advantage as Damien Willemse stands up well in the tackle. And now White goes to the left to Valentini, who goes to ground, and referee Ben O'Keefe blows his whistle, brings an end to things, and he wants to have a word with Sia Khaleesi. I imagine this will be an official warning, David.
Yeah, he's given them a couple of warnings for the various intentional breakdown of play. We just saw that Ben O'Keefe said, "Hold on, everybody." There was an excited moment there from Gordon as he tried to run away with the ball, but the referee's just saying, "Hold on, I'm having a word." But like you said, Ken, this is another warning for someone, and like as you mentioned, I don't think either side would want to concede a yellow card, less so the Springboks, because they're in their own 22 here. And Sia Khaleesi just marshalling his troops and saying, "Everybody take a deep breath. We don't want to trip up here right at the finish line."
Yeah, South Africa have conceded 3 penalties in a row, which I seem to recall was the benchmark O'Keefe set in the first half. After 4 penalties in a row, a Wallaby, Matt Phillip, was yellow carded. So he's being consistent, the New Zealand referee, as they are now checking something via the TMO.
No Alessio on the bench, which means Reece Hodge has probably gone into that number 10 position, with Gordon making his way to number 15. What do you think this call is for, Ken? I mean, they've already given the penalty. What's the potential foul play?
Yeah, it seems to be something they're looking at. Damien Dialendi is in there. It was when Damien Willemse made the tackle on Tom Wright.
Yes. And they've intentionally held on.
You know what? Willemse. Well, I think it might be a headshot on Dialendi when a bit of a shoulder charge, and It's Alan Alalatoa, yeah, who Damien Dialendi was kind of bent over the ball, exposing his head and shoulders
in play, yeah. And he's held him
there we go.
down there.
There's a forearm to the head by Alalatoa as he goes in for the clean. It's really, I mean, it's so difficult.
Yeah, that's red. Surely that's red, Ken.
Well, I would not like that to be a red card. I mean, I just think it's such a dynamic situation. Dialendi's moving around. Alalatoa's come in to try and make a clean. Yes, he came in a little bit leading with the shoulder. Yellow card max for me. I really don't think that warrants a red card personally.
Brendan Pickrell, the man behind the TV, just still having a chat with Ben O'Keefe. And surely then that's a turnover ball for the Springboks. They're just rationing it out.
Yes, one would imagine at least a penalty. Maybe a yellow card, but at the moment it looks like referee O'Keefe is taking a more sensible approach.
Yeah, just having a look at that one. Maybe.
Well, they're now looking at it. The Australian TV is just highlighting a separate incident. No doubt trying to get South Africa in trouble, but it's a penalty to the Springboks. The penalty is reversed, and Damien Willemse has kicked it out.
To not give a card for that?
Safely. No, I'm happy with the penalty, David, to be honest. I think it's such a dynamic situation. Alalatoa didn't do too much wrong there. Good, sensible refereeing for me, as South Africa would have a line out just inside their half of the field, as Darcy Swain, the second row forward, comes on for Matt Phillip, and Pete Samu for Fraser McWright. Mostert takes the line out though, and the maul is set by the Springboks. Malcolm Marx at the back. They're not really going anywhere at the moment. The Wallabies in both these matches have really defended the maul very well, as Malcolm Marx breaks clear, but is brought to ground quickly by the Wallabies defence. Hendrickson goes left to Jasper Wiese. What a good game he's had. He's over the advantage line, sets the ball back again for Hendrickson. Quacker Smith is on to provide cover for the box kick, which Hendrickson launches a good one just outside the 22. Mapimpi in the air, challenging, but it's safely taken by Tom Wright. So Wallabies ball just outside their 22-meter line. 17-3 to South Africa in the 58th minute, as the Springboks are trying to get a counter ruck going here, and they have fallen over the ball, according to referee O'Keefe, and conceded a penalty.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of lazy stuff there. We see Etzebeth falling on play and not really doing something with it. He's having a word with Ben O'Keefe, but I don't think there's too much wrong there. Good catch by Tom Wright, but immediately swarmed by men in green jerseys. Not really releasing, though, either.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a tough one. It looked like Sia Khaleesi was penalised. I think he was involved in the tackle as well. Not always easy to straight away get back on your feet. But a relieving penalty for the Wallabies, and they'll now have a line out just inside the South African half. Falafingai throws to the front. Etzebeth competes and knocks it back South Africa's side. Tidied up by Jasper Wiese. Great turnover there by Eamon Etzebeth at the line out. Malcolm Marx now ducks his head and carries. Burrows his way to the halfway line, and a good counter ruck by the Wallabies, making it difficult for Hendrickson. He gets some reinforcements though, and the ball is made stable again for South Africa. Hendrickson launches the box kick just outside the 22. Again, a good take by Tom Wright, very clean. And Wallabies will have the ball now, right up against the touchline. They form a pod as Alalatoa rumbles forward. Nick White quickly goes to the boot, launches it. It's out into touch, and in fact he's taken the ball back inside the 22, so it's a mistake by the scrum half. And South Africa have tried to take a quick line out here, and it's all become a little bit of a shambles with the ball bouncing around. And the Wallabies played the ball without retiring, so Springboks will have a penalty for offsides.
Yeah, James Slipper, the skipper for the men in gold, trying to get involved there when he really shouldn't have been. Malcolm Marx just taking a breather briefly there, getting some attention from the water carrier, or perhaps the doctor. And Willemse kicks it into touch on the near side. South Africa will have a 5-meter line out on the Australians' try line.
Nice to see South Africa do something a little bit different. I'm sure Australia would have expected them to take the line out. It's just inside the 22. But Jaden Hendricks, a quick thinking through into Malcolm Marx, and Willie Leroux was involved. But it was Pete Samu who came across and not only was offsides, but almost deliberately knocked the ball on. Malcolm Marx feeds the line out and goes to the back. Franco Mostert takes, and it's out to Malcolm Marx. Jaden Hendrickse, inside ball to Damian Dialende. He swivels out of one tackle, and he's fighting hard. He's got 5 meters within the try line. He's driving 2 Wallabies back. Quacker Smith and Malcolm Marx in. They've driven him over the line. Referee O'Keefe rules that he's held up. Wow, what remarkable strength there by Damian Dialende. 2 tacklers who went in a little bit high, and he drove them back a good couple of meters. The Springboks also have a penalty advantage for, it's probably, it was Australia going in too early to stop the driving ball there, taking the line-out jumper in the air, I would imagine.
Yes, indeed. So thank you, Coach Dave. Thank you, Ken. 17 points to 3, South Africa lead. Willie Leroux with the ball in hand, 15 meters from the near side touchline. And he will kick this with the left foot, and that will be a line-out throw to South Africa on the near side of the field, just about 5 meters out from the Wallabies try line. 61.5 minutes gone in this match. So the final 18.5 minutes, as Damian Willemse is getting some attention there. Looks like he might have swallowed a bug or something, because he's spitting profusely and flushing out his mouth there. Maybe got a knock to the mouth there with some blood in his mouth. Just flushing out
just a bug got her.
the gobber there. Everybody taking some drinks on the field. Not sure exactly what's wrong with Damian Willemse at this point, but he is on his feet. He's looking okay, but just saw the fluid pouring out of his mouth, so it must have been something that he's trying to get rid of inside there. As we see, another replacement getting ready here for Australia. That will be Pete Samu, number 20, I think.
Rob Leota.
That's Rob Leota. Yeah, Rob Leota, the number 20, getting ready to go on.
Dwayne Vermeulen is on. Dwayne Vermeulen is on for the Springboks as well. I fancy for Jasper Wiese, who has really had an outstanding game, I think, tonight, Otto.
Very impressive match by Jasper Wiese. Malcolm Marx is still on the park, and he will throw into the line out where it's collected almost collected by Franco Mostert, but into the hands of Rob Valentini, who muscles his way forward, pretty much like Damian Dialende did, almost up to the 22, 20 meters in from the near side touchline. Right at the back is Nick White with the ball into the channel there. He will kick with the right foot to the near side touchline from inside his 22, and the ball is collected by who was that there for Australia. They managed to keep it into the middle of the park now. The Springboks putting pressure on Australia right in front of their own posts, and Kolisi has the ball. Quagga Smith breaks away from the ruck, goes over the advantage line. Jaden Hendrickse to the middle of the park now, holds up the pass inside to Dwayne Vermeulen, who's 7 meters out from the try line. And that is Frans Malherbe storming onto the ball in the middle of the park, just over the advantage line. Jaden Hendrickse to the far side. Quagga Smith cuts back in, and the support is there. Jaden Hendrickse to the far side. Willie Leroux with the pass to Canan Moodie, who's brought down 7 meters. and 2 meters in from the far side touchline, 7 meters away from Australia's try line. Jaden Hendricks is there, sends the ball out to Kitsoff, out to Frans Malherbe, who's tackled 15 meters in from the far side touchline. Jaden Hendricks with the ball into the hands of Franco Mostert, and it's ripped away by Australia. Rob Valentini with a kick, and the ball goes down into the hands of Willie Leroux with a drop goal with the left foot, and it is just underneath the uprights, just underneath the crossbar there, pinning Australia back. Here are South Africa keeping the pressure on, but not managing to convert it into points once again, and a good steal there by number 21. That should be Pete Samu. Australia have the ball now 50 meters in from the near side touchline on their own 10-meter line. Behind the gain line goes James Slipper down to the ground now with some Springbok stealers there, but they managed to control it, and it goes into the hands of Ikitau on the 10-meter line of Australia. Nick White into the hands of the number 3, Alan Alatawa, and it's a penalty to Australia on their 10-meter line, with the referee saying, what is he saying? Let's see. It's Siya Kolisi, I think, the guilty party in this instance. It looked like the Springboks had the dominant position in that ruck, but the referee not happy with that. Kitsoff went in after Kolisi's tackle. And then, why is this not a Springbok penalty? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Didn't like the way Kitsoff
I can only imagine
the ruck.
I think he's penalised Kolisi for taking up space. After the tackle, you meant to roll east-west and not north-south, and he's rolled straight onto Australia's side, but then they come in on the side of the ruck. Before that, I thought Kitsoff had rights. I must say, I don't think Kitsoff did anything wrong at all. So a bit unlucky there. Yeah, I think the Springboks.
Yeah, good work by Kitsoff. 15 and a half minutes to go. South Africa lead 17 points to 3. Scott Seo is on the field. Rob Leota, as we mentioned, is on the park for Australia, and they have a line out on the far side of the field, just outside South Africa's 22, taken in the air there by Australia, and down to the back line it goes now into the middle of the park. A good tackle by Damian Dalende, driving Australia backwards, and the ball comes out to the near side where Rob Leota takes it forward, and it is a penalty to Australia as they go off their feet, supporting Rob Leota there with a lovely mullet. That is a most excellent mullet there by the number 24 Australia, Rob Leota. But they concede a penalty in just about the middle of the park, just outside the 10-meter line of South Africa. 15 minutes to go.
Impressively bushy, that mullet.
Yes, indeed. The party at the back is a big one. This kick goes over the try line on the near side of the field. As we see there, it was... Rob Leota just wasn't held in the first tackle, got up off his feet, and then that number 6, Jed Holloway, just leaning in from the side and just going off his feet at the ruck there with no contact on a South African player. So Malcolm Marx will throw the line out just inside the 10-meter line on the near side of the park. South Africa playing right to left. 14 minutes to go. He goes to the back where it's collected by Franco Mostert, and the maul is set with an Australian player on the ground, but it is no problem for South Africa. They edge forward. Franco Mostert urging on the Springboks. They're in the middle of the park. Use it, says the referee. Jaden Hendricks, it does so. Kick forward by Damian Willemse. The ball goes over the try line on the near side of the field and dotted down by Tom Wright inside the goal area of Australia. They will have a goal line dropout.
Brilliant by Damian Willemse. The speed with which he dropped the ball from his hands onto the boot, and it's just a pity that Makazole Mapipi was not quite on the same wavelength on him there, and just that split second late in setting off.
Yeah, and now Reece Hodge with the kick down the middle of the park from just outside his poles, inside the Springbok half. It's collected by Valerie. The hands of Damian Willemse, gets to the Australian 10-meter line, brought down in the middle of the park. Jaden Hendricks to the far side. Stephen Kitsoff with the inside pass to Willie Leroux, it looks like. Jaden Hendricks to Franco Mostert. Jaden Hendricks now to Damian Willemse, who kicks a high ball, and this ball will come down just outside the 22. Yes, Tom Wright collects for Australia. He's flipped to the Springboks side there by Willie Leroux, but it's a penalty to Australia, and the referee says not rolling away. Dwayne Vermeulen also in attendance there. I think he might have been the one who was penalised there for falling onto the wrong side of the ruck. A good take there by Tom Wright, just out of the hands of Makazole Mapimpi, and not releasing, says the referee, as Mapimpi hung on to Wright. So the line out is set now for Australia, 3 meters inside the Springbok 10-meter line on the near side of the field. 17 points to 3, South Africa lead. 14 minutes left in this match. Can Australia score a point a minute to match the Springbok score of 17? So the replacement hooker is on, goes to the middle of the line out, wraps around now into the hands of Rob Ballatini, almost to the 22-meter line of the Springboks in the middle of the park. The ball squirts out the back. It's collected by Rob Leota into the hands of Pete Samu, now into the hands of Gordon, who sends it to the far side, and it is a penalty to South Africa for a high tackle on a South African player. Must have been called by the assistant referee on the near side. 11 and a half minutes to go. 17 points to 3, South Africa lead. Siya Kolisi is getting some attention now. Time is off. Clock should be stopped, but it isn't yet, as Kolisi is getting some magic spray there. Are they giving him a breath freshener there? Something is being sprayed into his mouth, it looks like.
They do that these days. I've seen it a couple of times. Yeah, Australia penalised for a neck roll in cleaning the breakdown there.
Okay, so there we go. The penalty kick goes over the near side touchline in between the 10-meter and 22-meter line of Australia. Trevor Nyakane is on the park. Stephen Kitsoff is there, so he replaced Frans Malherbe. We also see Dion Fourie onto the park in place of Malcolm Marx. So it'll be Fourie to put the ball into the line out with 10 and a half minutes just about left. And the line out is set on the near side of the park. It looks like it was judged to be just outside the 10-meter line of Australia. So Dion Fourie is on, but Malcolm Marx is also still on. Siya Kolisi is off the field, so Dion Fourie will slot into the flank position. Marx with the throw, stolen by Australia, down to Gordon, flings it out wide to Rob Valentini in the middle of the park, goes to Korobete on the far side, who knocks it on, knocked it on into the hands of Tom Wright, who then knocked it on into the hands of Marika Korobete. And it is a scrum to South Africa with 10 minutes left. Take us home there, Ken.
Yeah, 10 minutes left for South Africa to hold on to this lead of 14 points, which, if you wanted to be critical, given their dominance, should probably be a bit more, as Frans Steyn has entered the fray. He's onto the field for his 76th cap, replacing Jesse Creel at outside centre. And South Africa will have a scrum just about midway between the Wallaby 10 and 22 metre lines. So good platform to exert some dominance. They'll have a useful blindside and a good field position for South Africa. Can they hit home what would surely be the final nail in the coffin if they can fashion a try from set piece here? Jaden Hendricks feeds. And the scrum is disintegrating and going sideways, but no arm up by the referee. South Africa take the ball forward. Jaden Hendricks out now to Willemse, to Dialende, out wide to Willie Leroux, who sets for Pepino on the touchline. He's over, I think, in the corner.
Yes.
Has he put a foot out in touch, or has he got over? It's a wonderful move, and now there's a fracas that's broken out. I fancy one of the Australians dived onto Mapimpi after he had got the ball down, which is most unnecessary.
Yeah, no, this is very scrappy here by South Africa. Tempers are flaring right now, and that, I think, I saw at least one punch go in there from one of the South Africans that might be trouble. They're still going at it, is Eben Etzebeth and Alan Ala Atoa still going at it. Some handbags there, some short jabs with his hand on the collar of Ala Alatoa by Eben Etzebeth, and really unfortunate here. This is never nice to see. It's shockingly easy for Springbok opposition to bring out that side of the South African players. It's never nice to see that. And Valileru is still having a word with Nick White, and the referee stepping in. So,
well, first of all, they're going to look at the
audio of that flat Free State English giving Nick White the lip there by Valileru. Let's see what the referees have to say.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you've got to see if it's a try or no try, and it looks like the AR is suggesting that Mapimpi was in touch. So we're going to first of all deal with that, which I think will give a better idea of what happened once the ball went dead. I have a feeling Mapimpi was dived on, which raised the ire of the Springboks, as we see Mapimpi bursting through the tackle of Reece Hodge, and then in Marika Koriabeti's tackle as well. He dots down. He is quite a long way infield, so yeah, absolutely no doubt that he was not in touch.
Maybe fantastic the left hand, they're going to have a look. Yeah, no, that was brilliant work there. Koriabeti came across from the opposite side. No, that's a try. That's Mapimpi all the way infield there. And then Koriabeti hangs onto Mapimpi's shirt, and that starts the fracas. Tom Wright gets in there, pulls the shirt of Damian Dalende, who shoves his hand into his face, and then Rob Valentini comes in on Mapimpi, shoves him around a bit, and then Rob Valentini loses his footing, and they all go to ground. So that's trying to remember where I saw the arm swinging, because I did see somebody that was Eben Etzebeth then on Ala Alatoa. He's got a scratch to his face there by Ala Alatoa as well, and is just pushing and pushing at Ala Alatoa. Ala Alatoa with the clenched fist, ready to go, but not quite going for it. Oh, that's really not nice to see. I do enjoy a UFC fight every now and then, but this is a rugby match. And the AR trying in vain to get Ala Alatoa and Etzebeth there in the replay, as we see. The fracas, by the way, has broken up. We're just watching replays here to see if somebody is at fault here. But Ala Alatoa with 10 fingers into the eyes of Etzebeth, scratching down his face there. So, I mean, I've seen Eben Etzebeth in person, and he's got triceps that are the size of my thighs.
Yeah, and he's gone beast mode. Yeah, he is really not
intensity on the face of
not Eben a pretty sight.
Noteworthy. Yeah, full beast mode there by Eben, but just unnecessary. I think Ala Alatoa did something to him while he was on the ground, and then as Eben Etzebeth got up, he just went straight into the face of Ala Alatoa, and now we see the two hands coming out and scratching the face of Eben Etzebeth. So time is stopped on 71 minutes, 9 minutes left to play. So the referee is going to call out, it looks like he's going to call out Eben Etzebeth there. No. What is he doing? No, he's running over.
Well, yeah, Etzebeth has been called out, and I imagine Ala Alatoa might be as well. It's possibly a yellow card for both of them. That would seem the fairest way of dealing with things.
No, we're not sure what the referee is saying there, but over-the-top aggression by Etzebeth, and this is going to cost the Springboks in the last 9 minutes.
The try will
is getting ready to send off.
Try will still stand.
Oh my goodness!
Yellow card for Etzebeth, but Yes, the try stands.
No, Makazole Mapimpi is in the bin. Makazole Mapimpi
Well,
is in the bin.
He did actually start the fracas because after he scored the try, Korobeti was lying on the ground and Mapimpi grabbed him round the throat, put his hand on his throat, which Korobeti obviously didn't like, which did tend to spark things off a bit as well. So after all that, Mapimpi has been yellow carded. Eben is obviously captaining the Springboks now that Sia Khaleesi is off the field. That's why he was called up.
I see.
So he's okay. He stays on the field. I suppose the thinking is that the guy who started all the trouble gets sent off. You'll see a replay now that Korobeti is lying on his back after failing to stop Mapimpi scoring. Mapimpi immediately gets up and thrusts his hand on Korobeti's throat. Korobeti then grabs his jersey, and it's WWE after that.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so a bit of a sour moment there. Frans Steyn will look to kick. He goes now with the right foot, and my goodness, as beautiful as a Free State sunset, the man from Bloemfontein gets the 2 extra points, and it's 7 more to South Africa, 24 points to 3 with 8 minutes to play. Mapimpi
Frans Steyn's first
rather sheepish on the naughty chair there.
Frans Steyn's first contribution to the game, a superb conversion from the touchline. So even if Australia score 3 times now, it will only bring them level with the Springboks as they restart and they go to the left touchline. Which is the
penalty on the halfway mark for the yellow card. Yeah, so there was no kick-off by Australia. It was the penalty throw now for David Poreki on the far side of the field, just outside the 22. Good competing there by Eben Etzebeth in the line-out, and the Springboks have possession. They drive forward now, and they are... the ball pops out. Kobus Reinach is on the park, into the hands of Damian Willemse. Went over the head of Kobus Reinach, which is not a difficult thing to do. Kobus Reinach gets the ball now into the hands of Retje Gefoditswe and Che, aka Ox. Nyakane over the ball there. Kobus Reinach scoots the ball backwards with his foot, getting ready for the box kick. 7 minutes to go. 24 points to 3, South Africa lead. The ball comes down just inside the Springbok half. Canan Moodie is there with Marika Korobeti. Did that go forward off Canan Moodie? Yes, says the referee. Knock on scrum to Australia. 5 meters in from the far side touchline, just inside the Australian half. So good competing there by Canan Moodie, but the ball just popping off his shoulder and going forward. He goes to ground. South Africa retain position, but they have to concede the scrum to Australia with, is that Gordon? Yeah, that's Jake Gordon for Australia, who has the ball ready to put it into the scrum. 6 minutes to go now in this match. The difference is 21 points that Australia need to make up. That is a done deal. The only question now is, can South Africa hang on to the bonus point? Gordon with the throw, far side of the field, as I said, inside the half of Australia. Set is called. The scrum goes down. Both front rows, says the referee, and new front row for new props for South Africa, completely new front. No, Ala Latoa is still on the field. It's just a hooker that's been replaced for Australia. So Malcolm Marx. Is he going to try and get this ball back? It doesn't look like the referee has got anything urgent to do after this match. So Jake Gordon still with the ball, ready to put it into the scrum. Bind is the call. Set is called. And Australia put the ball in. They go backwards, but Jake Gordon has the ball and comes to the near side into the hands of Korobeti with the inside pass, still inside their half of Australia. Jake Gordon goes digging for the ball. He gets it now into the hands of Jed Holloway. who's brought down behind the advantage line. Gordon out to Reece Hodge in the fly half position, just over the 10-meter line once again, in the middle of the park. Gordon goes to the center where it is Rob Leoto takes it forward, still just outside the 10-meter line, inside pop pass by Jake Gordon, and driven back is Wright. Gordon with the kick now, off the right foot, goes down the park into the hands of Willie Leroux, slings it out to Damian Willemse, who sends it off the right boot, down into the 22 of Australia. Andrew Kellaway is there, passes it inside, and it gets the ball straight back, and he makes it to the 10-meter line where he's tackled just inside the half of Australia on the far side of the field. Gordon goes to the inside now. Holloway with the gets tackled just short of the halfway line. To the blind side they go, and the ball is dropped by Marika Korobeti on the far side of the field. It'll be a scrum to South Africa, almost in exactly the same spot. 4 minutes to play. 24 points to 3, South Africa lead. And with that pop pass that probably went forward as well, Korobeti drops it, and it'll be a scrum on the far side of the field, 5 meters in from the far side touchline, just inside Australia's half.
Excellent game management by the Springboks there. Damian Willemse with a fantastic kick deep into the Wallabies 22. That's where you want to keep them in these closing minutes. And no fault of Korobeti there, who's had a rough game. But Jed Holloway tried the behind-the-back flick, which Korobeti clearly wasn't expecting. And it was somewhere down by his knees as well. And went forward as well, I fancy. So Wallabies desperate, trying things which are a bit too far out the box at the moment.
So the game is over as a contest. No chance for Australia to score 3 tries. Well, they have to score 4 converted tries. They have to score 3 converted tries and at least another penalty to get past the 24 points with a 21-point lead to South Africa. The only question, as I mentioned now, is can South Africa hang on to a crucial bonus point with the next game being at the Stadio Jose Amalfi in Argentina in 2 weeks' time, I think. So let's see what the Springboks can do here. Scrum is reset by the referee before he calls the bind, as both front rows go in a bit early. So David Porecki is on for Australia, or Porechki if we were a poll. Scott Seo is on in place of James Slipper, who said prop for Australia, and Ala Alatoa, I think, is still on the field. 4.5 minutes to play as the scrum is reset. So that Hunter Paisami HIA was a very big blow to Australia's backline. Kobus Reinach waiting for the ball at the back of the scrum, but the referee is not happy with South Africa's scrum. He gives a penalty to Australia, and what a relief. Reece Hodge will send the ball flying through the humid sky in Sydney. The newly renovated Allianz Stadium looking absolutely wonderful. And the Springboks being punished there for what I'm not exactly sure. Something went wrong there with the scrum. 3 minutes to play. Australia 21 points behind, and they will have a throw in to the line out on the far side of the park. Gordon sends it infield, and Tom Wright has to slide forward and catch a low ball that he manages to pick up. That was Ikitau. Good competition there in the ruck by South Africa, but the referee not happy with it. Quickly taken penalty into the 22 goes Pete Samu, hands it off to Marika Korobeti, who gets the ball up to 10 meters. Now it's Rob Leota who sets up the ruck 50 meters in from the far side touchline to the middle of the park. The ball goes, and Gordon is there trying to get that ball out of the ruck. He does so now. Right in fly half position there to Reece Hodge. Reece Hodge is now receiving the ball on the near side of the field, 15 meters out from the Springbok try line. And Nick White is there, 6 meters out of Australia now. They go to the inside now. Valentini gets to 5 meters out, 50 meters from the near side touchline, to the middle of the park. Wide pass, wrap around there. Australia get the ball out to their back line. Willie Leroux tries the intercept, Nick White has the ball, sends it out, way out to the left-hand side, and it will be Rob Leota, Pete Samu, excuse me, number 21, who strides over with his man bun into the Springbok goal area. 1.5 minutes to play, and Australia have a try. It's 8 points to 24 for the Springboks. That was a penalty advantage with Willie Leroux almost intercepting that ball. Nick White recovering quickly, sending it over to the far side, and Pete Samu just strides over for a try.
Well, I'll be surprised if Willie Leroux doesn't get a yellow card as well for a deliberate knock-on, which clearly prevented the try being scored earlier. Such was Australia's overlap. They did manage to convert it in the end. So South Africa at the moment have lost what could be a vital bonus point, given how tightly contested this Rugby Championship is. It looks there's a little 2 on the screen. Yellow 2, so I think Willie Leroux has been yellow carded as well.
Australia need another. Australia need another try here to get rid of South Africa's bonus point, and they might just be able to do that with only 13 Springboks on the field. South Africa will have to kick off. Reece Hodge sets up the conversion. Looks up at the poles, down. His eyes go to the ball. Strides forward, plants his left foot, strikes it with the right foot, but he pulls it to the left of the left-hand upright. And the score remains 24 points to 8 for South Africa. They will win this match, but will they walk away with a bonus point? And that is going to be absolutely crucial with Argentina and Australia upsets last week. I would say time is up on the clock. Official time is up on the clock. Can Australia score one more and take the bonus point away from the Springboks? And it is Damian Willemse with the kickoff. He goes to the far side of the field into the 22. It's collected by Ikitau, I think. Yes, gets to the 22-meter line. Gordon into the hands of the forwards. It's knocked on by Reece Hodge, and that's all she wrote. That will be a scrum advantage. Kwagga Smith takes the ball out, and Nick White will run away with it, but it's a knock-on by Australia in extra time, and that's it. That's the end of the game. 24 points to 8. The Springboks get the bonus point with 13 players on the field. Relief. And just as in this morning's game, normal service restored, I would say. Although it has never been easy to beat Australia in Australia. So,
not since 2013.
Yeah, so that's good. That's nice to see that we've broken that record today. 9 years without a win in Australia, and the Springboks walked away with the W today.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a totally clean kill by the Springboks. One could argue that given their dominance, they should have won by more, but a much improved display by South Africa. And it just shows what happens when you start the game well, picking your first choice tight 5 up front. And a lot of those players stayed on the field deep into the second half. Marks and Etzebeth and Franco Mostert were there right until the end. And I think the Springboks would have learned a lot from this victory.
Yes. So, thank you very much, everybody, for listening, for watching along with us. Please do support us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell. You'll see when we go live. The next time we talk to you will be with the game against Argentina on the 17th of September, live here on One World Sports Radio. And then, of course, you can also support us by going to patreon.com/OneWorldSR to help us cover our costs and pay for the broadcast rights and get to the games. We won't be broadcasting the test match that starts on Thursday between South Africa and England, the decider in that test series. But you can join our mothership, the OGs at GorillaCricket.com for that one. They do come with an explicit lyrics warning, but a lot of fun to listen to. Go onto our YouTube channel for all the podcasts, the cheap seats, the Full Quota podcast, which is a cricket podcast. Thank you so much once again for all your support. We do appreciate it. and we'll speak to you again on the 17th for some live rugby. Ken, final thoughts? Are we going to be able to beat Argentina over there?
Well, I guess it depends which Argentina side show up. The team that beat the All Blacks last weekend, or the one that folded rather terribly today. Look, it's going to be a tough game for South Africa over there in Argentina, no doubt. But hopefully they build on the things that worked well in this game. And I think they have been shown a way in this match. And it was great to see them vary their attack so much. They still kicked and kicked very well at times. But there was a great desire to use ball in hand. And it was really a much improved display by the Springboks. So back on the right track, I think we can say.
There you go. And it's at Ken Borland on Twitter. If you want to go ahead and follow Mr. Borland there, he is an actual journalist. He's not a simple fan like me. So please go and follow Mr. Ken Borland on Twitter, and he's got some great articles and insights that he puts out regularly. So thank you very much, Ken, for being on air with me today. And thank you, David Midgley, for the stats pack, for all the support, giving us some info behind the scenes as well. But most importantly, thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you again soon. Cheerio.
Thank you, guys. Goodbye.